Before we get into this, I want to say that all of this gear I'm about to mention is really great. It's high tech, it's nice, it's quality stuff. But with each and every item, there's just something about it that bothers me. Either way, I feel like it's worth mentioning that this is all good stuff and that a lot of it just isn't really for me. Now, I tried and tested all of this gear over the course of hiking 2,200 miles last year. In that time, what really stood out as my least favorite gear from 2023. Now, first on the list is Arc'teryx, and I don't mean one particular item from them, but everything that they make as a whole and everything that I tried. Arc'teryx as an outdoor brand makes some really high-tech gear, always innovating with the products that they put out, and certainly they're the most fashionable outdoor brand on the market today. If you want to look stylish on trail and in the city, there's no doubt that Arc'teryx is what you're looking for. Last year, I tried a lot of different things from them. What I found is that there's a couple problems with Arc'teryx, at least when it comes to the very hiking focused person like myself. The first problem, of course, is that everything they make is really expensive. From rain jackets to insulating layers to things as small as a beanie. Everything they make is going to be double, if not triple the price of any other equivalent piece of gear out there from other outdoor brands. Now, this is totally fine with me if they make the best of the best. I'm just not really that convinced, at least not in regards to hiking gear or gear that would be great for hiking. Now, maybe they make the best skiing gear or ice climbing gear or other kinds of outdoor activities, but I just don't think it's the best gear for the hiker, the backpacker, the through hiker. Now, the second big thing that I've noticed is that a lot of their gear is kind of heavy. On my next backpacking trip, would I rather carry an 8-ounce jacket, or would I rather carry a 13-ounce jacket that does the exact same thing? Personally, I'm gonna choose the 8-ounce jacket 99% of the time, in which case I am not going with Arc'teryx. And it's like this with pretty much everything that they make. Without fail, when I start comparing it to other brands, I can always find a lighter alternative that is functionally the same. So when it comes to an activity like backpacking, where the weight that you're carrying up and down these mountains is such an important aspect, I just don't really see any of their gear like standing out. So I've looked and I've looked and I've looked, and I've really wanted to get more gear from them just because it is so cool and stylish and hype and whatever else. But every time I start comparing it to any other like brand out on the market, it just seems like there's always better alternatives. Either cheaper alternatives that do the same thing or lighter alternatives. It's all still really amazing gear. It's all gonna function at the highest level possible. I mean, that's what they do. But in pretty much every case, I feel like I can find a better option in one way or another from a different company. So Arc'teryx is up when it comes to my least favorite gear that I've tried from last year. Now, next up is the Outdoor Research Echo Sun Hoodie, which I wore for about 2,000 miles last year. I really did like this sun shirt a lot. It's super breathable, it's super lightweight, and it's super airy. It really feels great to wear. It provides ultimate protection from the sun with the long sleeves and hood. It's quite durable, lasting me more than 2,000 miles until I got a single hole in it. Like, it really is a great sun hoodie, and I would absolutely recommend it. So if I think it's so great, then why am I not going to be using it again? What didn't I like about it? Well, this is going to be a little bit silly, but I just don't really like how sun hoodies look. Now, maybe it's my body type, maybe it's my own personal style, but I very much so prefer how those classic button-up, long-sleeve hiking shirts look instead of the sun hoodie. So that is what I'm going to be going back to. The button-ups that I've been wearing for like 10 years now for hiking. There's just something nice to me about rolling into a town and feeling extra classy because I'm wearing a button-up, even if I'm still dirty. I feel better, I feel like I look better, I feel like I'm perceived better by the locals, and that's it. I just don't really like the way that Sun hoodies look on me. I see a lot of other people and they look fantastic in them, but I just didn't really like it. So if you are looking to try a Sun hoodie out, I think the Outdoor Research Echo is a phenomenal choice and I would definitely recommend it. Like, functionally, it is amazing. I just don't think it's for me personally. So I'm going back to my old school, like, Columbia button-up shirts. Now, this next one's a little bit silly, and it's about the 2 cook pots that I used last year. I feel like it's worth including them in this video for one reason, and that is the size that I chose. So I tried the 650 milliliter and the 1100 milliliter titanium pots from Toaks. The smaller one I used on all of my solo trips, and the larger one I shared with my partner when we were hiking together. First, these are phenomenal pots, and I would absolutely recommend them. They're very lightweight, they seem nice, they come in all sorts of different sizes, just all around really great pots. So first we'll talk about the smaller pot. It was just too small for a solo hiker, and that I think if you're looking to get a new cook pot, you should probably size up to the 750 milliliter instead. Now, if you're trying to save every gram, every ounce possible, then I was absolutely able to get away with the 650 milliliter. I just think most people would be happier with a larger one instead. So if you want to go super light, the 650 is great. If you want a much more comfortable, more usable size, then I think the 750 is what you want. Now, as for the larger pot, me and my partner Sprocket shared it while we were hiking together. I would take a bite and then she would take a bite, and we would be passing this pot basically back and forth between each other. Now, this worked out for us, and again, if you're trying to save weight, this is definitely the way to go, because we only needed 1 pot, 1 stove, and 1 fuel canister instead of like 2 of each of those things. But for the couples, I just don't think I would recommend necessarily doing that. Or I would certainly try this out on a camping trip near home before you do it out on a thru hike. Because when you're out hiking and you're tired after a long day, and now you are forced to be patient when it comes to eating because you're sharing this pot back and forth, maybe you should consider just going with 2 pots instead, even though it's a little bit of extra weight. So both pots really great. It's just the sizing and the sharing that was kind of a problem. I already own these pots, so I'm probably just gonna keep using them as they are. But if you're looking to get new ones, then maybe avoid my mistake. Starting to get kind of cold. Put on my mitts here. All right, probably my least favorite item that I tried last year was the Xero Mesa Trail shoes. I really wanted to like these. I was super stoked on them. And in the end, kind of the only things that I really did love about them was how they fit. They have a very wide toe box, they are foot shaped, and all around they fit me super, super well. The problem with them that I found was that these are extremely minimal shoes, which is pretty cool because in general, I love minimal shoes. I've been hiking in minimalist shoes for the past like 6 years or something like that. I kind of feel like the Mesa trails are taking it a little too far, at least in regards to thru hiking. All right, just to compare for a second, the stack height of a few popular shoes out there: 8 millimeters for the Xero Mesa Trails, 14 millimeters for my favorite Merrell Trail gloves, 21 millimeters for the Ultra Superiors, 25 for Ultra Lone Peaks, 33 for Hoka Speed Goats. The Mesa Trails have nearly half the cushion of my favorite minimal shoes, and they have 3 times less cushion than something like a Lone Peak. Now, a Lone Peak isn't a minimalist shoe, but that's not really my point here. I feel that these shoes are just too minimal, at least in regards to a thru hike where your feet are everything and injury is just so incredibly common. that maybe the Mesa trails just don't provide enough protection, enough cushion to be happy when you are going to be hiking every day for the next like 3 to 6 months. While wearing these, I felt like I was going to injure myself. That's not a feeling that I feel with other shoes, and it's not a good feeling. It's not a confidence-inducing feeling. So my other problem with these was the durability. I wore these for about 300 miles, and this is actually the second pair that I have tried. The first pair I got lasted me only, don't have fingers here, but 2 days. They lasted me only 2 days before the rubber outer sole and the upper started peeling off from one another. I could fit my entire hand in between the rubber and the actual shoe. That should just never happen with a brand new shoe. So immediately upon getting that first pair and having this happen, I was kind of freaked out about using these on a through hike. Did I just get a total dud of a shoe, just an absolute mistake? Or is there a problem with the quality, or a problem with the quality control? I really don't know. So I still really want to try these and give these a fair shot before I wrote them off completely, and so I did. I wore these for about 300 miles last year. Now in that time, I just kind of felt that even though nothing catastrophic happened, no massive failures like the first pair, I just felt that they were wearing down a lot more quickly than I would have liked, and a lot more quickly than other shoes that I'm more accustomed to. All around, nothing really crazy was happening, but the lugs were wearing off very quickly. The inner sole on the inside was like turning into a piece of paper. It was just flattening so quickly and getting like holes and tearing apart. I really don't think I would have been comfortable wearing these shoes, happy wearing these shoes, or injury-free wearing these shoes for even just 500 miles. And that's kind of grim, because with a lot of other hiking shoes, I am easily and very happily getting 500 miles out of them. So in the end, I just don't think I would try these and wear these and buy these for another through hike. I don't feel like they offer very much protection. I feel like the chance of injury while wearing them is maybe a little higher than I would like, and kind of the durability is still questionable for me. Now, I do think I will get these again though. Even after all of that, I really do think I'll buy these again. But I think I'm gonna use them for training, for around town, for strengthening my feet when the stakes are much lower. These really fit me great. I think they're nice shoes. I just don't think I want to wear them on a through hike. Now this last piece of gear I only have a small gripe with, but it definitely feels worth mentioning. This is the Yama mountain gear Cirriform 2-person tarp. So this is an ultralight shelter with a really cool design. I really do love this tarp, and I think it's awesome as a bad weather kind of shelter. Given the catenary cuts on all the ridge lines, the ability to stake it super low to the ground, and the fully enclosed design, this tarp is really meant to withstand some heavy wind and rain. I know absolutely that I could trust it in bad conditions. I do have a couple small complaints though. The first of those complaints is the width of this tarp. I just do not feel like it was wide enough to offer enough protection for 2 people sleeping side by side while underneath it. While using it, we experienced many different storms, and every single time, without fail, I just felt like the slightest roll off to the side and I would either be getting super exposed and wet, or I would be getting my quilt wet. And that's certainly not what you want. There was even one night where I was forced to build a barrier of sticks next to me to try and prevent myself from getting wet, prevent myself from rolling too far over where that would be a possibility. So for 2 people, I just don't really feel like maybe this is the best shelter option out there. Now, if you're looking to use this as a solo hiker, I think it's phenomenal. It's going to offer you a lot of space inside, and again, because of the design and the way all the ridge lines are cut, it is really a storm-worthy shelter. I think the age-old adage of a two-person shelter is really a one-person shelter really rings true here with this tarp. So for a solo hiker, fantastic. For two people, maybe not as much. Now, my other small gripe with this is that maybe for a tarp, this is just a little heavy. So on my scale, it comes in at 17.5 ounces. That is with all of the guidelines. That is with it being seam sealed. At that kind of weight, I just feel like as a solo hiker or as a couple, I would almost rather just use a tent. Kind of the beauty of using a tarp and forgoing a bug net in a lot of cases is that they're just so lightweight. I think the tarp that I use for most of my solo trips, a 7x9 flat tarp made out of Dyneema, weighs something like 4.5 ounces or 5 ounces. So, you know, the beauty of a tarp is the weight, and I kind of feel like a little bit of that is lost on this one. If the overall weight was lower, either from a more stripped down design or less features, or if they started making them in lighter fabrics as they used to, but they no longer seem to, I really think I'd be all over this thing. If it just weighed less, I think I'd be totally in love with it. Like, it really is the most beautiful shelter I've ever seen, and I think it's the coolest shelter design in all of the backpacking world. I just wish that it was a little lighter or maybe a little wider. Still, I think it's a really sweet shelter. I think it's made to withstand really bad weather, and I would certainly recommend it. I just have two little small problems that I felt like were worth mentioning, because this is another item a lot of people have asked me about after seeing us use it. So that is all of my least favorite gear of 2023. I feel like that's the wrong word to kind of use for this stuff, because all of this is really, really great gear, as I tried to highlight. I just think with each item, there were certainly some points that were worth mentioning. So if you like this video, give me a little thumbs up, and if you aren't already, please subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. I hope to see you guys in the next one.